A woman earned $48,900 in wages and tips. She had no other income and made no contributions to retirement plans. She is single and takes the standard deduction. Calculate the FICA taxes and income taxes to obtain a total tax bill. Then find the overall tax rate on the gross income, including both FICA and income taxes. Use the table shown to the right. We'll start right down here where it says calculate the FICA taxes. We'll let FICA tax rates be 7.65% on the first $106,800 of income from wages and 1.45% on any income from wages in excess of $106,800. To do this, first off, we need to look at what her wages are. So her wages are $48,900, and that's what we will calculate our FICA tax on. That means that we're looking at 7.65% of that will be her FICA tax. So we'll take the fact that we have $48,900 and we'll multiply it by 7.65%. So the FICA tax will be equal to 7.65%. and we will multiply that by her income, which is $48,900. Now, in order to do this, we'll need to convert this percentage into a decimal, so it will be 0.0765. We will multiply that by 48,900. When we multiply this out, we end up with 3,740.85. But in the problem, you will round to the nearest dollar, so that will be equal to $3,741 for her FICA tax. Then we will calculate income tax. Now, to calculate income taxes, the first thing you want to do is to find the adjusted gross income. And when we talk about the adjusted gross income, that's also called the AGI. And that is going to be what the income is after we deduct any adjustments, exemptions, or deductions from the gross income. So in this case, we notice that she made no contributions to a retirement plan, so her AGI is actually going to be her gross income. So as I said, the AGI will be equal to her gross income of $48,900. However, we do note, and I'll scroll back up so that we can look at it, that she is single and takes a standard deduction. So if she is single and takes the standard deduction, that means we will subtract $5,700 from her adjusted gross income to get the taxable income. So if we have $48,900 and we are going to subtract from that the standard deduction of $5,700, and then we look at her exemptions, and since she is single, once again we're looking at single, exemptions per person will be 3,650, so we will subtract that. And this will be the taxable income. And that would be equal to $39,550. So now we need to determine the tax bracket. So we'll scroll back up and look at the table again. And remember that we're at $39,550. Okay, so to determine the tax bracket, we note that she has an income or a taxable income of $39,550. Once again, she is single, so we keep that in mind. And we see that $39,550 is going to fall between this value and this value. So that means that our person in question is in the 25% tax bracket. So we're going to take our income and we're going to calculate on this. Okay, we need to keep in mind on this that she'll pay 10% on anything, or I should say on income up to $8,350. Then she will pay 15% on income above $8,350 up to income of $33,950, and then she will pay 25% on income above $33,950 up to income of $82,250. So since she has earned $39,550, we'll take that $39,550 and we're going to calculate the tax as follows. So the income tax will be equal to the following. We'll take the fact that she pays 10% on the first $8,350, and we're going to add to that the fact that she pays 15% on the following. And now notice exactly what I'm doing here. I'm taking $33,950 because that's the upper limit of the 15%, and I'm going to subtract the upper limit of the 10% of $8,350. And then we're going to add to that the 25% times the remaining amount of money, and we'll get that by taking the taxable income of $39,550, because that's her upper limit, because that's what she earned, and we will subtract from that the lower limit of $33,950. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and simplify this. We'll have 0.10 times 8,350 plus 0.15 times the difference of 39,950 and 8,350, which is 25,600. And then we'll add to that 0.25 times the difference between 39,550 and 33,950, which is $5,600. Now you can just type this right into your calculator. But I'm going to go ahead and do each one of these individually. And this first one will be simply $835. I'm going to add to that 0.15 times 25,600. So this 0.15 times the 25,600 will be 3,840 plus, and then we'll take 0.25 and multiply that by 5,600, and that will be equal to 1,400. And then we will add the three of these together to find out what the income tax is. And when we add them together, we get 6,075. So that is the income tax on the taxable income. And then finally, we want to go ahead and find out what the total tax is. And in order to calculate the total tax bill, we're going to add the FICA tax and the income tax together. So we need to go ahead and write that out. So total tax bill will be equal to the FICA tax plus the income tax. And then we need to go ahead and make sure we remember what both of those are. The income tax we've just calculated, that's 6,075, and we are adding that to the FICA tax, and we calculated the FICA tax earlier and we got 3,741. So the total tax bill will be the sum of these two numbers, and that will be equal to $9,816. And then finally, we are going to go ahead and calculate the overall tax rate on her gross income, including both FICA and income taxes. In order to do this, we simply take the overall tax rate and we set it to the following, or set it equal to the following ratio, which is going to be the total tax, which we just calculated, of $9,816, and we're going to divide that by the total gross income, which we have calculated, or actually obtained from the problem, which is $48,900. So we do this calculation to get the overall tax rate. And when we do this calculation, we get the following decimal: 0.200736, and it goes on. And all we really wanted to do was round this to 3 places so that we can get the percentage. So we'll say that this will be equal to 0.201, which will be equal to 20.1%. And that's what our answer will be for the overall tax rate.